The principles of repentance. First principle, this is regret. One must understand in his heart that his having left God is evil and bitter. He must affirm within his heart the idea that punishment exists and sins are avenged. As it is said, vengeance is mine and recompense. From Deuteronomy 32:35, and be ye afraid of the sword, for wrath bringing the punishments of the sword. Job 19:29, he must regret his evil deeds, and say within his heart, what have I done? How was it that the fear of God was not before my eyes, and that I did not shudder before the admonitions against sin, and the severe judgments? For great are the sufferings of the wicked. I took no pity upon my body, and my eyes did not blench before its destruction, for a momentary pleasure. I have become as one who steals, and does violence, and eats to satiation, although he knows that after his eating and drinking, the judge will break his teeth with gravel. As it is said, bread of falsehood is sweet to a man, but afterwards his mouth shall be filled with gravel. Proverbs 29:17, even worse, I have been cruel to my precious soul, and have sullied it with the impurities of my evil inclination. What are all its attainments worth, if it is evil in the eyes of its master? How could I have bartered an eternal world for a transitory one? What have I become? I have become as the beasts, and have followed my evil inclination, as a horse, as a mule, void of understanding, and I have strayed from the path of reason. The Creator has blown into my nostrils a living soul, wisdom of heart, and the gift of reason, so that I may recognize and fear him, and rule over my body, and all that stems from it. As it, my soul, has been given dominion above the other non-speaking creatures, God having honored that which is precious in his eyes. After having been created for this purpose, and having acted in opposition to it, what is life to me? As it is said, the man that strayeth out of the way of understanding shall rest in the congregation of the shades. Proverb 21:161, what is more, I have not even acted in the manner of the beasts, but beneath it. For the ox knows his owner, and the ass his master's crib. And I have not known, and not considered, but have sent my soul free of its master. I have tasted my honey, and forgotten my end. I have stolen and done violence, and trodden upon the poor. And I have not remembered the day of my death, upon which only my corpse and my dust will remain with my soul. What has been set forth above is contained in the words of Jeremiah of blessed memory. No man repenteth him of his wickedness, saying, what have I done? Jeremiah 8:6. The second principle is forsaking sin. One must forsake his evil ways, and resolve, with all his heart, not to return to them again. And, if he has acted iniquitously, to leave off acting in this manner. As it is said, turn ye from your evil ways. Ezekiel 33:11, and let the wicked forsake his way. Isaiah 55:7, one who has chanced to sin, having conceived a lust, and the evil inclination, having brought itself to bear upon him, and having overpowered him, his thoughts and senses, not having braved the attack by shouting down the sea of lust, and drying it up, and the evil inclination, having thus confounded him with its wiles, his fall into its coils, being a thing of the moment, the spirit of the evil inclination, having confounded him, and not the result of a desire on his part to embrace the sin, and to indulge in it afterwards. The beginning of this man's repentance is regret, infusing sorrow in his heart over having sinned, and experiencing affliction and the bitterness of gall. After this, he must daily increase the fear of God in his soul, and constantly instill the terror of God in his heart until it is steadfastly secure in God, so that, if the evil inclination inhabits him again and confronts him, as in the past, and his lust mounts, as at first, his heart will not be seduced, and he will depart from his evil way. As it is said, but whoso confesseth and forsake them shall obtain mercy. Proverbs 28:13. First we have, but whoso confesseth, referring to regret and confession, and then, and forsaketh them. If one, however, continues in the way of wrong, and each day grows more confirmed in his sin, repeats his wrong, and frequently turns away in his course, persists in his love of evil, and sets before himself the stumbling block of his sin, namely, lust and inclination, his desire and aspiration, being that none of his evil intentions go unrealized. The beginning of this man's repentance is to forsake his evil ways and thoughts, and to take it upon himself not to sin again. After this, he must regret his corrupt acts and return to God. As it is said, let the wicked forsake his way, and the man of iniquity his thoughts, and let him return unto the Lord, and he will have compassion upon him. Isaiah 55:7. The above situation is analogous to that of a man who, holding an unclean creature in his hands, comes to perform ritual immersion in order to cleanse himself. First, he will put away the creature, and then immerse himself and become clean. As long as the creature remains in his hand, he remains unclean, and the immersion is of no avail. Similarly, the forsaking of the sinful thought is the casting away of the creature, and his regret over having sinned, together with confession and prayer, constitute the immersion. When affliction and suffering are visited upon the evildoer, whose thought is constantly to persist in his wrongdoing, he must accept chastisement at the outset, abandon his evil thought, and sever his evil deeds from his hands. Just as a calf is beaten with a goad to straighten its furrow, so one who stands in the path of wrong must at the outset accept chastisement to leave the ways of death for the straight path. As it is said, I have surely heard Ephraim bemoaning himself, Thou hast chastised me, and I was chastised as a calf unrestrained. Jeremiah 31:18. And surely after that I was turned, I repented. Ibid 19. That is, after you chastised me, and I was chastised, and turned from my evil way, I repented and regretted my past transgressions. This explains what has gone before.